Hey, good morning, community. It's Ed, and boy, it's early. Getting ready for breakfast. Just highlighting the kitchen. You know, they don't get much credit, but these folks back here working, doing a great job. And I'd interview one, but they probably scream at me for trying to interrupt them. But hey, community, it is, boy, it's a little rainy, but God's blessings have been raining down. I was blown away yesterday. And many people were about the attendance at Candlelight. And this little light of mine, boy, I tell you, that song went forever as people were coming out the kitchen and singing and just blessing our pilgrims. And they've been blessing us. They blessed us at Candlelight. Just a beautiful, beautiful time. So, hey, we want to just remind you that obviously by the time you see this, it'll be too late for breakfast. But lunchtime is always a little tough. A lot of folks obviously going into their places of worship, and we understand that. But if you are able, if you don't have any obligations at church, come on down and bless these pilgrims and serve. And, you know, a lot of people kind of get the idea that, well, if I don't go to church, I'll be in trouble. And but you know, worship is not confined to the four walls that comprise a place with the name church on it. Worship can happen anywhere, and Paul tells us everything we do should be to the glory of God. And so if you don't have any obligations in your church, I'd invite you to think about coming down here and serving these pilgrims, because I'll guarantee you something. There will be some worship here. See, Jesus told the woman at the well, she asked, she said, well, you know, your people say that we have to go worship the temple, but then they don't let us. And Jesus said, well, there is a time coming, and the time is now, where people will worship God in spirit and truth. And what Jesus was saying is that, you know, now with Christ in us, we're the temple. Anywhere we go, we worship. And there's going to be some worship going on here, and it is going to be in spirit and truth. And, you know, unfortunately, there's a lot of churches out there that worship, but do they really worship? And so we invite you to come down and just pour into these pilgrims, and that's worship. When these folks preparing meals, they're worshiping right now because they're using their hands and their feet to serve. And that's what it's all about. When we pick up a plate and we put it down and we smile at a pilgrim, that is worship. And I'll tell you, this kind of worship blows off the doors of heaven. This is what Jesus was talking about. When we worship in spirit and truth, it's when we pour our hearts out to others who need the love of Christ. That's worship. So obviously, I personally have an obligation. I have a small church, and we have to do 1 o'clock. So I won't be here for lunch as I preach. But so I understand that. But if you don't have an obligation, come on down. And I know some of you can't do either. Pray for these folks. Pray for their strength. Pray for the pilgrims as they get near the end of the journey here. But of course, it's really only the beginning as they enter their 4th days. But we love you, community. Thank you so much for everything you're doing. You've been a blessing, and you know, people like this, that's what it's all about. And people like you. God bless. Stay glorious.